Alright, here we are on day 4 of the build. Before I get started, I had a comment from Mr. Gearhead from Hell. He said when you install your oil pump, make sure that it's lubed inside because they don't prime themselves. So I'm going to pull that off and get some thick, I don't know, lube in there, Vaseline, something in there, so that when this motor turns over, it'll have a prime. So I'm going to do that right now, and we'll continue. I took care of that, and it's a good thing I did because it turns out I had this gear on backwards. See how it's flush with this gear here? Before, it's got this big collar on it. When it was flipped over, only about half these gears were on that gear, so it's something I didn't see when I first put it on. And now that I have it on, I put the nut on, and then there's a washer that you bend over the flat side of there, and then you bend the other side of it onto the nut, so the nut can't loosen on its own. And this thing is full of assembly lube, so I think I got a good enough prime to go on from here. So I just got back from the car wash to clean all this junk off, the cover and everything. I'm gonna get that cover dried off, start putting some gaskets together, and get that installed. Okay, got that on. New seal, 3 new O-rings, or 3 new small O-rings and a large O-ring. I don't even remember where it was, but and a gasket. Got that started and get the rest of the bolts in, torque it down, and then I think we're doing the water pump next, so hang on. Alright, now that this whole front case is on and the water pump is on, it's time to move on to the fuel injection part of it. And the first thing it wants me to do is connect the start spring. The start spring goes on, let's see if I can zoom in. Start spring goes into that hole right there, and then over to this pin into that hole, and this is the start spring. So I'm going to grab a little pair of needle nose and get that hooked up, and then we'll continue on from there. Okay, that's installed, that little spring that just keeps that lever back into the, I guess this is like the low idle position. So that's what that spring does. And the next thing we're going to do is, I'm not sure, let's see. Okay, the start spring, I'm not going to put the fan drive pulley on yet because I want to do some paint first. So the drive spring, and then after that was the speed control. Before I took that off was the speed controller, so going in reverse, I gotta take off the speed control plate, and the speed control plate has these 2 springs attached to it, and they appear to both go to that slot on that fork lever. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this plate down on top and get these springs through the opening and see what it looks like and go from there. Alright, before I install this permanently, because I don't even have any gasket on, I'm just taking a look at the picture to see kind of how these springs go. Looks like they loop over the top. Why is this on macro? I don't know. Hang on. Springs go over the top. Like, where are you? That. Come on, focus. Focus. Yeah, okay. So they go over the top there, and then it appears like they loop. The loops are towards the back. So I'm going to go stick this down in the hole and see what it looks like. Okay, I have this on just temporary, and as you can see, there's 2 springs. There's the large outer one and the smaller inner one. The smaller inner one hooks into that hole in that slot, and so does the large outer one, but the large outer one, surprisingly, yeah, it goes on afterwards. So you grab a needle nose, pull that spring in, clip it over that slot, and then with your fingers you can just grab this outer spring and just kind of manipulate it through the hole. You'll kind of see how it's kind of got to go, kind of goes in from this way and then curls and then goes in, and then it faces up. So once you have it in the hole here, you can kind of see the way it goes, and then that lever pulls the throttle. And I don't know what that outer big spring does. What is it called? Oh, that's the governor spring. Okay. So the governor spring prevents it from going any further, so it won't over rev and blow up on you. So I have those in now, and we are going to take this all apart again and put the gasket on and get it on permanently. So hang on while I do that. Alright, so those springs they're in there, they're on there permanently, and just got to get these bolts tightened down, and we're moving on to the next phase, I think. Yep, we got to get into this stuff now. Alright, when you reinstall your injection pump, it's got this small pin right where that guy's thumb is. It's right there, and that fits down in a slot where you put those governor springs on. Where are they? Where you put the governor springs on, there's that one arm. Alright, that's the fork lever, and then the inner arm has a little slot in it that accepts that pin. It kind of finds its own way down on there, but you just want to make sure that you kind of line it up with your hands. Just put your hand through the hole here, your finger through the hole, move that lever around till it finds that spot. It'll slide right down in there, and then when you move the lever back and forth, this pin will move side to side, and you know you're in it. And then with a little bit of pressure, push down on it, because remember, those valves are spring loaded, and they're on that little camshaft that's down there. So whatever lobe is facing up, it's going to be spring loaded. So you just got to push down on this, get the bolt started, and draw it down, and then you're good to go. You won't be able to see it, but if you reach in here with your hand and move that lever back and forth, you'll be able to see the pin sliding this direction back and forth, and you know it's in the hole. So that's all on there, and then I just got to bolt it down, and now I just got to put the injection pump cover on, and we'll go from there. And just to note how it works, if you look inside here, this lever that sticks out, there'll be the stop handle on here will be pushing against it. So when you push it to stop, that handle moves that direction, pushing this arm this direction, which in turn slides that shaft that I just showed you this direction, which in turn shuts off fuel to each one of those injectors. So that's how the fuel shuts off. So when this slides over this direction, it closes off all these injectors, and no more fuel gets to the motor, and that's how you shut it down. So that's why it's important it's in that slot. And it is, so I'm going to go ahead and put a gasket on here and get this plate put on. So I'll be right back. Okay, that'll do it for the fuel side of this motor. Next thing I'm going to do is put the head on. And the head, if you remember, it's brand new, so I don't have to put the valves in. I don't have to put new valves in or anything like that. It's all in there. So we're just going to go ahead and bolt the head on, and the rocker arm assembly to that, and that's one more down, and then we'll go and then probably paint after that. So that's it for today. So if you could, please rate, comment, subscribe, and again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.